Welcome to Reality Creative Video. I'm Hermes. Watch this entire video to the end and earn yourself another cool. Today we're going to put a close in a project that we've been working on for a while. Sodium citrate without mold. Let's start with a recap on the sodium citrate without mold saga, because I've had several videos on it over the past month or two, I guess. It came to my attention a while ago from a subscriber that his name is Jimmy, very helpful. Just want to thank him here for all his help, helping me back and forth with his research on his end and stuff like that. He brought it to my attention that some people are allergic to the mold in the citric acid that they use to make sodium citrate from. Kind of blew my mind. I didn't realize that the citric acid was made from mold. So I did research, talked to my chemist, and guess what? Yes, sodium citrate is made from citric acid that contains mold. And this mold, there are a lot of people that are allergic to this mold. In fact, it's some countries have banned it. Anyway, so the quest was on to find a solution, a sodium citrate solution, that didn't have mold in it. To me, it seemed simple. We'll just make our own. Well, it wasn't actually so simple. Looked up on the internet, talked to my chemist about it, and, the alternate way of making your own sodium citrate involves baking soda and lemon powder. The problem with lemon powder is that it's variable. It's not as strong as citric acid. It takes roughly 8 times more lemon powder to equal 1 part citric acid. Now you might say, well, why not use the citric acid? Just make citric acid and make baking soda. Well, because all citric acid, unfortunately, is made from mold. You can't get citric acid that isn't made from mold. So we set out to make sodium citrate from lemon powder. This had some consequences. A, the pH was off. I might have been able to solve the pH problem by using washing soda instead of baking soda, but that was neither here nor there. The other problem, the big problem with it, besides that it needed 8 times the amount of powder to be used, was that I had lemon powder is organic, and I had organic stuff in there, and lo and behold, very shortly afterwards, I had organic things growing in my sodium citrate, and then after a short time after that, I even had things growing in my colloidals, and that's a no-no. I had this problem when I was trying to find a low-voltage electrolysis solution for platinum. There had been research on using organic substances to break down the platinum. And I had investigated some of them, like holy basil and manuka honey. Well, I ran into the same problem there. While while they weren't really great substances to break down platinum, they did break it down, but the colloidal went bad shortly after that because of the organic elements in there. And so since then, I'm really reluctant, and I want to stand clear of putting any kind of organic substances in my colloidals. But for the sake of experimentation and finding a solution, we went with the lemon powder. Sadly, it didn't work. I even tried boiling the lemon powder, which was a mess to do. A sticky, lemony stuff all over the inside of the microwave. It still didn't kill off the organic elements. So I really was at the end of the road there, and I was about ready to give up on the whole thing. And then I had a thought. I said, what about malic acid? Now, malic acid, if you guys don't know, is another form of citric acid. It's a stronger form of citric acid. It's a little bit more sour. But it's not made from mold. It's made from fumaric acid. Fumaric acid comes from, again, comes from various fruits, depending on how they want to make it. So that is a good alternative. And when they put it through some sort of a hydration process, according to the internet, and they create malic acid out of it. A very strong acid. I equate malic acid as to be about 3 times stronger than citric acid. So we saw a way forward. I said, okay, let's make this stuff up with the sodium citrate using malic acid. And that's what I did. And I was successful. Now there are a couple caveats here with the whole thing. I'm going to give you the formula so you guys can make it now. I've completely tested it. This is ruby red, colloidal gold right here, and this is copper, so C2 and C1, and these are 2 things that specifically use sodium citrate, a specific amount of sodium citrate in order to make them be exactly like this. And this stuff worked 100%. Did not have to change the gold formula or the copper formula at all, so that's very, very good. The pH was absolutely perfect. I compared the pH of this stuff to pH of the regular sodium citrate that we made. So it is, you know, outside of maybe being a tiny bit more tart, it pretty much works. So when we come down to making it, we have to be careful. First, the malic acid. Now, they're not required to say this, but malic acid comes from 2 sources. One is from fumaric acid, and one is from synthetic acid. We don't naturally want the synthetic acid one, but they don't. Some packaging will tell you where it's from. There's -L malic acid. If it says -L on it, it's made from the fumaric acid. And that's good. That's the acid we want. Now, if it doesn't say what it's made from, it could be from the -D acid, the synthetic acid. You'll have to look up on the MSDS sheet for whatever acid, whatever malic acid you want to see to find out what kind of acid it was made from. I will actually link to the a malic acid that is actually made from fumaric acid, and you'll be set. So, how do we make this? 100 mil. Now, this is not as tedious as the lemon powder thing. We don't have to go through the fizzy test. If you reviewed the fizzy test method that I showed you in the start to finish on how to make sodium citrate with lemon powder, because this malic acid is consistent. So, I've measured it out what you need. So, no fizzy test necessary. You will need washing soda. Now, you will need to get food grade washing soda. We use washing soda because it has a higher pH. It brings the pH up to what we need sodium citrate to be. So you're going to mix 1.3 grams of washing soda with 0.6 grams of malic acid, and you're going to mix that with 100 milliliters, and then you're just going to mix them up, and you are done. You got 100 milliliters of sodium citrate without mold. You can use these in all of my formulas, just like the regular sodium citrate. Just substitute this, and you will have identically solutions to all of your colloidals. So you will have colloidals without mold. So I hope that helps all of you, and that ends the chapter on our sodium citrate project. Thank you to everybody who contributed, my chemist, endless hours to my chemist on it, and to Jimmy, many emails back and forth. He was the one that discovered a lot of the stuff on the malic acid and the lemon powder, and it was very helpful in co-testing the stuff with me. Okay, if you made it to the end of this video, you've earned yourself another cool. I'm Hermes. This is Reality Creative Video, and I will talk to you again soon.